are back. Thank you for staying with us. You are on time. If you're just joining us for the first conversation of the day, earlier on we were catching up on a few topics on things that have happened in the last 24 hours. And now we switch gears and get into matters money, because it's entrepreneurship and we want to create wealth. We just don't want to merely exist and go with the motion of life. You just work, get a living, live from hand to mouth. We don't want that. I don't know if you do. If you do, then we want to change your perception, because there's much more on this other side of the line. So we want to talk about creating wealth. And the guest we have today is an expert. He is Kilonzo Mbuvi, and he's a property expert working with Optiven. Karibu sana.
Asante sana, Stephanie. How are you?
Glad to have you. I'm good.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. So tell us, why is it that you are passionate about teaching and advocating for wealth creation?
Thank you, Stephanie. I would start by saying wealth creation is very good for all of us, from generation to generation. It is basically passing wealth from one generation to the next. And all of us need financial stability. All of us are working for that financial independence. So it is because of those reasons that all of us must have the mindset. So it starts from the mindset that I really want to be financially stable. I want to be financially independent. And therefore, you must take some steps toward that realization.
Okay.
So I am passionate because we Africans have that tendency of, because of our environment has exposed us to poverty, and because of that environment, we pick that mindset of, I really don't need to work hard, there is no hope for me. And therefore, we must start by teaching all of us, and even our generations, that it is important to create wealth for yourself and for your children's children. And therefore, at a time in life, you will retire and you'll need to pass something to your next generation. Yes.
And if it's actually a biblical principle, it's there.
Yes,
We also create wealth for our children's children.
Exactly.
And that's generational wealth. Now, wealth for some people means different things. When you say about wealth, then what do we mean, really?
Wealth is a very wide term. And, there is also a difference between wealth and riches.
Tell us about it.
So wealth is assets, and wealth can be, different portfolios, different portfolios of wealth. And wealth starts from assets to liquid finances. So when we are talking of wealth, we are talking of when you will be able to, you're working today, and tomorrow you'll not be working. When you are not working, what is the wealth? What are the assets that you created the time that you are working, and they are able to take care of you at the old age?
Okay.
While they are taking care of you at the old age, then you also have another generation that will also benefit from the legacy that you build. So wealth creation is very important, because one day, one time, let me assure you, we will need to retire. So it is good that I've been telling people, you need to start thinking of your retirement now. You need to be starting of, thinking of the 50 years now when you are 30. You need to think of 90 years when you are 30. Because it starts now. The wealth creation journey, the accumulation of assets starts now. Is it land? Is it in stocks? Is it in bonds? Whatever portfolios you want to go for, that wealth creation starts now, for that time when you'll be retiring.
All right. Interesting. Because when you say retirement and you're a young person, you think, I'm too young for that one, but we need to start early for us to get to that place and not feel frustrated. You get that many people who retire, die within, statistics have it that, is it within 5 years or somewhere around 5 years, because of the frustration? What usually happens now? Have you seen that? What usually happens when people retire and they don't even want to retire? You have worked all your life, you have gotten to the retirement age, yet you still, because you don't know what you want to do. Tell us about that.
And that comes because at your early age, at your active life, at your productivity age, you maybe did not have a plan, you did not have a vision, you did not have objectives of the wealth creation. So wealth creation starts from education, financial education. What education do you have? What knowledge do you have about investment? What knowledge do you have about wealth creation? So number one, it starts from what is the knowledge that you have. And because of the miss of that, because so many of us will retire without that, and maybe they knew or they ignored. So if you do not have the financial education at your very early age, then you will regret at the old age. So maybe we could start from the financial education. What do you need to know? Like when you are young, you need to hear things, or you need to educate yourself the things like what is an income? You need to educate yourself on things like after an income, you need expenses. From expenses, you need things like return on investment. You need to educate yourself on things like financial independence and financial stability. So those are the terms that the moment you start to work, whether you are employed, whether you are a business person, you really need to focus on what is really an income. And I have an income, I have an X income. What am I supposed to do with this income? You need financial education on budget. You need financial education on things like even savings. So all these things, to avoid that trap, to avoid that, you know, a regret and, you know, pressure that comes at the old age, because you did not save, because you did not create wealth, you need to start now by investing in financial education.
Okay, financial education is important. And many people don't get this. You know, you just do a life trial, you know, just go. You get money, you have not prepared yourself on how you're supposed to use it. And you're going to tell us all about this. But you had mentioned wealth is different from riches.
Yes.
So what is riches?
And riches, you can just wake up today and steal a lot of money and become rich. Liquid money.
Okay.
Yes, you can just wake up and you have 20 million. That time you are rich, but you are not wealthy. Because one of the evidences of, you know, saying or declaring someone is wealthy, you'll also see the lives that are being affected by the wealth that person has created. Riches sometimes are very selfish, because I'll give you an example of a celeb. A celeb today wants to live a fake life sometimes. He wants to buy the expensive shoe in town.
Most times.
Yes. You know, most of the time, celebs are very rich. You can see the riches by the cars they drive and all that. But really, can you talk about an evidence of the same with the generations?
Okay.
So it is very different. Riches are very selfish sometimes, and they are created for, you know, a bubble of time. Wealth is a legacy. You are building a wealth for a generation, and sometimes when you hear billionaires like Elon Musk, you can see the evidence. They are rich with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is both rich in terms of cash, and he's also wealthy, because today you'll need Starlink. All of us are, you know, they are launching something to go to the moon. It is affecting generations. It is affecting the way, it is disrupting technology. You hear Warren Buffett. These guys, they have created wealth. They did not just wake up to be wealth the way they are today. It has been a process, it has been a sacrifice.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
All right.
Yes.
So we want to know about all this, creating wealth. Where do we start?
Financial education. What is an income? Because if you are a business person, if you are employed, you have an income. So invest in education, financial education, to know these terms and to know how to implement them in your life. So start from, you can maybe have an online class. You can go on Google, you have a Google University. You can Google what is the meaning of these terms and how can you benefit from them. So for example, an income. What is an income? A source of an income is you're employed somewhere and you earn a salary. If you're working, if you're a business person, then after you do your cost of production and everything, there is what is left. Maybe as profit, the revenues of the company that you're working as an entrepreneur. So there is income at the end of the day. So in the financial education, you need to know that there is
an income.
Then from there, an income where we have expenses. Whoever is watching and listening us this morning, you have an income. How do you spend on the income that you have? Or you massacre your
money,
income
inakuja
on that fast.
by 50 you're brokers, you know.
So you start with that financial education, to understand all these things. You have an income, you have an expenditure. All of us here in the parliament, that there is budget estimates, there is an expenditure from the executive, from the National Assembly, all those things. So it is not up there. you can start the small things. You have an income and then how to spend on that income.
All right.
So for us, very important at the very basic level, we need the financial education. Where are you going to get it? It is available online. It is available in our universities. It is available in our contemporaries. It is available with your friend. It is available everywhere.
Short courses
online.
Financial management.
Please know
and
on
all that.
financial education. Very important.
Okay.
That is step number one. Another thing that after that you need to know is now, let us come to dissecting the nitty-gritties. After an income, what are you supposed to do with it? How are you supposed to draw a budget? What is a budget? A budget is just a financial plan. That is formed by income. There is a source of income in that budget, and there is also a saving plan inside there.
So from that income that you have,
yes,
you need to have a saving plan.
Before the saving plan, draw a budget.
Now the
yes.
the budget,
yes.
now you need to have a saving plan.
Yes.
And now your expenses.
Expenses, then from there you go to the savings.
Okay.
Start with an income, draw a budget, and then from the budget, inside that budget is going to show you the estimates of every expenditure. In that budget, you are going to find there is a saving plan inside there. For example, let me give you a very simple rule.
Right.
50-30-20 is a savings plan formula. 50% on the essentials. What are the essentials? You need to pay rent.
That's an essential.
It's an essential. Yeah, you need to maybe
pay your bills, the water bill, the electricity.
Yes. And then from there, the 30% could be things like now non-essentials. 30 and 20, they are non-essentials.
Okay.
Entertainment will come in the 30% maybe. 30% could be things like travel, could be things like you wanted to buy a laptop, a one-time laptop, one-time items. And then the 20% could be go to savings. Savings. Yes.
So 20% of your income should be savings.
The 50-30 rule is very important. I'm imploring all of us to study on that, on the 50-30-20 rule. It's a very good investment, a savings plan. Okay, there are sometimes, there is some of us who employ some very extreme savings plans, very extremes.
What do you mean by extreme?
We ignore the 50-30-20 rule. Some of us, because we want to retire at 33, you want to retire at 30.
Wow. Some people...
yes, you want to retire early.
Okay, all right.
So if you want to retire early, you could have some extreme savings plans, especially...
How does an extreme saving plan look like?
That one ignores the 50-20. It goes to maybe 80-20. 80 is all investments.
Oh.
20, you survive.
Wow. So you deny yourself to save for the future.
You don't do restaurants.
Okay.
You don't do a lot of entertainment. You cook at home. You go extreme.
You cut on things that you can avoid. Anything that you can possibly avoid. You carry lunch to your workplace. Do not buy food.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you go extreme because remember we said you need to have a vision and an objective. Where there is a vision, there is a mission. The vision is we want Vision 2030. How are we going to Vision 2030? Then that becomes our mission. Our mission, then from the mission we go to the daily objective. Yes, we are going to conserve Vision 2030, for example, is a project under Vision 2030. How are we going there? By the time we get there, we need to have infrastructure. By then we get there, we want to do this and that. What is my daily objective? My daily objective, every month I'll be doing 80% of my savings. Okay. So 80% would be passive investments, and most of the time we should do really passive investments. Because if we do active investments, sometimes we are not very wealthy, we don't have the leisure of a lot of money, and you're looking maybe as you're a salaried person, you're doing business, you need passive investments.
Now, for people who do not understand passive and active investment, please explain.
Passive are things like that don't require you maybe to be there on, like working there daily. Like now if you're a salaried person, passive things could be like you'll do blogging. You can do blogging as a side hustle, what we call side hustle. You could do passive things like investing in land. That is not very risky. It's not very risky.
Okay.
It's not like the stocks.
No.
It's not like the bonds. It's not like, all those things. So passive is something that really does not require a lot of you to be there. You can buy land and you let it appreciate. You see, you can do blogging. You can do digital stuff like you could be writing, right? You could be writing, yeah, on online writer, things like that. You could be drop shipping, whereby you could be selling on behalf of so many other merchants. You know, you can be selling on behalf of Safaricom, you can be selling on behalf of Optiven, you can be selling on behalf of Alibaba, and then the margin is what the company pays you. Multi-level marketing sometimes, but you have to be very cautious with that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's passive, and then active now is the risky type
Very
of
risky. Very risky. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you need to have a lot of cash if you are an active investor. We leave that one to maybe great and serious investors, those people who have made their wealthy and they have a lot of assets. They have a big portfolio of their assets. They can put like 1 billion into into stocks. They can put 1 billion into stocks. You know, that's a bit risky now.
That's very
You and
risky.
me can't do that.
You know, you can. That's money you can't just you know, dispose or you know, risk to have out there and lose it.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So now tell us, what are the areas we can invest in, especially for young people? Because for a young person, they look, I only had 20,000. So what do you mean? How am I supposed to invest and survive on 20,000? Because for many Kenyans, a huge percentage, I think it's 90%, survive with salary below 50,000, and then those that have above 50,000 is only the 10%. So you get that a majority of youths earn something from 50,000, 30,000 mostly, you know, and below. So how do they make something out of that small salary that they have?
But I think that's a lot of money.
Okay.
And by the way, I would want us to change our mindset a bit. Okay. It is not really about the 50,000, the 100,000 and all that. It is, number one, the mindset of a saving culture. We need that to, you know, be instilled to all our generation, to our young ones, the Gen Alpha of today, and everybody listening. You need to develop a saving culture. You are, for example, we'll start with your daughter at home. You give them 50 shillings. Go and spend it on maybe 2 lollipops. I'm giving you a very normal example. And then on Sunday, remember they will come to you for an offering. Right? So for me, I would do this. See, I've given you some 50 shillings. Go spend maybe 20 bob. Go wash dishes, and you will not wash them for free. I'll give you some 50 shillings. Incentive. Go wash the dishes. Because if we don't do that, we will have a very ignorant generation, if to say. That we did not teach them on how to save from the small that they earn. You have an income, whether it is grants, you have an income, whether it is a gift from your parent. So we could even teach them from a saving box. A saving box, you can be throwing 20 coins. Yeah. You know, 10 bob there, 20 bob there. Out of the 50 shillings that I've given you. So the same applies with us who are earning. You have an income of 20,000. Are you paying rent of 19,000 and you're earning 20,000? No savings there. You can't achieve nothing there, right? So from the 20,000, you could do maybe half. Let's say 8,000, you can pay your rent. Okay. If you're an extreme savings investor, then you can also do a house of 5K. Maybe you live in the outskirts of Nairobi.
Yeah, in the outskirts of Nairobi.
Yes, and then look for SACCO, maybe. Look for SACCO. Maybe from within your organization, look for SACCO. You can put that money in a SACCO. That money will accumulate. And then, you know, the good thing with SACCO in our environment, in our economy, you can get 6 guarantors. They can guarantee you, and you multiply your shares times 3. Then you can buy maybe land on installments. Yeah. So one of them is you can start buying land on installments. Installments.
So that's an investment that you can have with that, you know, money that you think it's small.
Other things that you can do is you can try the government bonds. You can try government treasury bonds and also bills and stocks maybe. Okay. Stocks, they are a bit also sometimes, you know, the good thing with stocks is because you are using a company, like for example, Optiven or maybe Safaricom. They have thrown their shares in the public. So you can go buy the shares from Safaricom because now it will be the company that is working for you. And we have a lot of other service providers who can also help you to buy shares from companies. So you can become a shareholder in one of these public limited companies. The other thing is bonds. Bonds are good. These bonds is basically a government will throw up bonds to the public, then we'll buy. It is the government borrowing from us.
Yeah.
So it will mature at a point in time. You have bonds for 2,000, 3,000. You can work through companies.
Okay.
Yes, we have a lot of service providers also for the bonds.
Okay.
Government bonds mature with time. But for a young person, for me, try investing, try opening a savings account. A savings account is good for you because in the long run, it will have some interest, and then you can take that money to invest in.
But a
land.
savings account, is it in a bank or is it in a SACCO?
I would advise, let the only account you open in a bank, let it be an emergency funds account, emergency funds.
Emergency fund only?
Yeah, the savings, saving with like creditors, credit organizations like SACCOs, where you can accumulate shares over time, and then you go, get it, buy land. You can start a cuckoo project, you know, a chicken project.
The savings that you have after
Yes.
some time.
Do you know how much is an egg today?
17 shillings or 20? Yeah.
And that is not the
ranges from
Kenyaji
70.
one.
That is not the Kenyaji one.
Yes, the Kenyaji one is about 25 shillings.
True.
So just do a simple mathematics. If in shags, you can do a simple poultry house, you can keep some chicken there. You can look for the Kenyaji one, the broilers. You can see, because there's a lot of demand for eggs right now, for example, a lot of demand. And you look for a supply chain. From the village, you can supply from there. You could be working with maybe one of the Matatu circles to bring your eggs in Nairobi. Look for how to make profit from your investment.
All right.
Look for things like, you know, keeping animals like goats. I keep a lot of goats myself. And towards Christmas, do you know how much is one goat? About 13 kgs is about 15,000.
Wow.
You have 100 of them. You're already a millionaire.
You're good to go.
And goats don't require a lot of things. You just need someone to be taking care of them. Out of the 5,000 that you are paying, your savings, 2,000 could be going for someone who will be taking care of your herd at home. At home, life is simple sometimes.
Easy, yeah.
Yes.
You just need
So
someone to...
basically have a savings plan, and don't put a lot of money in the bank. Banks, the interest rate is very small.
Yeah.
Look for at least passive activities to do, others very short term. Some very passive short-term activities like, you know, what we have just talked about, chicken, and also maybe goat rearing and all that. And then from there, look for circles, multiply your shares, and then buy land or something. Yes.
And the good thing about SACCOs is that you get dividends at the
You
end.
get dividends, yes. When there's an
financial
AGM,
year.
every financial year, you're going to get dividends on the same. Yes.
All right. Now, for people who want to invest in shares, there's usually the hype that comes, you know, company X is, you know, selling shares, and then people rush to buy without really doing due diligence, and then they end up losing their money there. Now, what do you need to look at when you want to buy shares from the company?
When you want to buy shares, you know, all these shares are in the public, and they are run by the Central Bank of Kenya, and they are under stocks. So we have Nairobi Stock Exchange. By the time shares are declared in the Nairobi Stock Exchange, they have followed a due procedure by a Financial Act and the CBK. So your due diligence basically is on CBK. You go to that particular company because the company has met the threshold for them to be a PLC. By the time Safaricom is announcing their shares on Nairobi Stock Exchange, they have met a threshold.
Okay.
And that threshold was not just put there, it was put there by an act of parliament. So for you to know, then you have also to check on what is their rate, what is their offer, because all these shares have an offer, all these stocks have an offer in the market. So you also, like we said, financial education on stocks, financial education on bonds, financial education on bills. So if it is for the stocks, you really need to know the current prevailing economic times. Sometimes it's very riskier to go buy a share at maybe, for example, 3 bob, and you had bought it at 5. You know, that is a loss already. So just wait, keep on studying the stocks, keep on studying it very keenly so that you know when they have offered a good offer and it is a good margin from how you bought it at. You bought it at 3%, and maybe they are offering it at maybe 7%. So there is an app there. You go very fast and you sell your shares.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how you need to do it. You need to study. You need
Yes,
to do
you
a
need
lot
to
of
study.
good
You need to
research
study.
on it.
Yeah, because the infrastructure for stocks is very good with the CBK. It is not just a private entity. It is very there. It is controlled by the CBK.
By the CBK,
Yes.
so at least that's safe enough.
Yes.
What's the difference between a treasury bond and a treasury bill?
A bill and a bond. A bond is a government taking a loan from us. It's like we are loaning the government,
Yeah.
because they will throw a bond to us. We will buy, we will invest in that bond, and like 365 days, it will mature. Bills on the other side is the opposite of the same. A bond will be thrown to us to buy. You can buy bonds of 50,000 maybe,
Okay.
and then after 365 days, then they will mature, and then they will be.
You'll get some.
Yeah, you will get some good. But the good thing with bonds is that the interests are very good.
The bonds.
Yes, the bonds. The bills, for me, I've not invested in bills
Okay.
because I fear them a bit. I like the bonds.
The
Bonds-
high risk ones.
Yes, they are high risk.
Okay.
Bonds are good because the returns are quite high.
All right.
Yes.
So bonds are better.
Yes.
Now, for those that want to invest in money market, how does money market work?
Money market, for example, you have to look at the insurance company. Most of the time they are in the insurance
Companies, yes.
There's no much difference between the bonds and the money market sometimes. Because, for example, Britain, I'll give an example with Britain. You can put like 100,000. They will trade with that money. They will trade with that money. They will trade with your money.
So you've loaned them?
Yes, they will trade with that money, and they tell you that you can come for your money anytime. Most of these insurance companies, they will tell you that you can withdraw your money anytime.
Anytime.
We will trade with that money. It's like going to the bank. You open a savings account. Once you open that savings account, then it will, the bank is trading with your money. The bank will be trading with your money.
Okay.
So that is the same formula. Money market is insurance firm is trading with that money in the market. So we will have so many pools, so many people coming in. We put 1 million, put 2 million, put 3 million, like that. So it is a pool of investors coming on board, and then the insurance firm is using that money to trade with it. At the end of the day, you're going to get some interest. Yes. So the trick with money market is, or the good news about it is that the more principal you put, the higher the interest. If you put a higher principal, you are going to have
better interest.
Better interest.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that's money market. So this is better. I mean, I'm saying it's better than having your money in a bank, which earns you some little profits.
Yes.
Than having it in the money market somewhere you can withdraw. I know it usually takes around 24 hours for you to withdraw. So it might not be immediate, but you will still get your money, and you
Yes.
get interest from your money.
Yes.
At some point in time. Now, tell us
And
about.
remember, all these are portfolios. These are investment opportunities. That cut across different. It's basically a diversification of portfolios. So don't invest just on one portfolio. Have a spread of them. It could be stocks. It could be bonds, the treasury bills. It could be land. There are so many. Now, also insurance. We have not talked of insurance.
I actually wanted to get to
Yes,
that. Insurance.
you need to have insurance policies, because as an investor, as a wealth creator, you need to secure your assets. You need to secure your wealth. So how do you do that? You need insurance. It's also a portfolio. It's also an investment portfolio. But you also need to be very careful so that you don't over-insure yourself.
What do you mean? how much? How should you insure yourself?
By the way, insurance is also in business.
Nah.
They are also profit-making organizations.
Yeah.
So you cannot invest in everything. You cannot have insurance of everything.
Okay.
Insurance due for your nails, insurance for your caps at home, insurance for this. They are very important and insurance policies that you only need to have. About 4 of them. Maybe life insurance, education, insurance for your assets. Those are the things that you need, especially the education policy and the life insurance, and also health insurance. 4 of them.
Health insurance.
You have to really sit down with your financial advisor to discuss your policy, your insurance policies, so that again you don't find yourself spending everything on insurance.
Okay.
Yes, if you have a car, you need at least a comprehensive insurance.
Comprehensive.
For your health, you need your health, because you cannot invest without health. While you are working, you need to be physically fit, mentally fit, and all that. You need education policies for your children. It will mature.
If you're a young
15
person,
years.
do you really need an education policy?
Unless you tell us you are not planning to get married and to have children.
But in order of priority, you've mentioned
Life
four of
insurance.
them. Then life insurance
Yes.
is the most important one.
Yes.
Okay.
Life insurance, health insurance.
And health insurance.
Yes.
So make sure you have those.
At least those two. At least those two.
They're
For the
very
education policy, maybe after an undergraduate, you have come, undergraduate in Kenya is about what age? 20, 23?
Yes.
23 years.
Basically around that.
So from 23, add 10, 33.
33.
Most of us at 33, you want to have, you want to be working and maybe doing your masters. So how will you finance your masters at that time? So maybe take an education policy for 10 years. Then after the expiry, after its maturity 10 years, you will go collect a good check. Sometimes don't, again, massacre everything. Maybe open another one or extend what you currently have. If you're planning to raise a family, have something for your children. That's how you are creating wealth. By the time they are doing what you are doing, masters, you'll have some millions in your account. You can sponsor them to a nice university in the UK, to a nice university in Africa, to a nice university somewhere, because you'll have saved for them.
You have saved for them.
Yes.
They say when you, you know, you are only allowed to say you come from a humble or poor background up until you're 30.
You become the background.
From 30, you become the background. So make sure that you actually create a good background for your
and we are
generation.
saying, it really, you don't have to be a millionaire to start savings. You have an income, draw a budget. Inside that budget, column number 1, savings. 50, 30, 20
rule.
is a simple rule for you to start the journey, to start the savings plan journey. And then from there, don't live like a celeb.
Live like you know you are planning
Just
for
live,
a future.
live you.
Within your means.
Within your means. Yes. Don't
Okay.
hang out with friends who are extravagant.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
Just live within your means. If you can afford a shoe, ya Gikomba,
Buy a Gikomba,
just go
send
for
it.
that. Don't have a lot of things to explain. Just look good.
Okay.
Look good, but looking good does not mean you are very expensive. Yes.
But you can have from that 20, from the 50,
Yes.
30, no, 30, the 20 is the
50,
savings.
30,
so the
20,
30, you
yeah.
can get something to, you know, also treat yourself to. You don't just
Yeah,
work and not
again,
reward yourself for
that
it.
treating yourself, that treating yourself, let us, that's where extravagance comes in. That treating yourself. Can you be shocked that when I was in campus, 2014, KCA University, I had income. And my brother had taught me on how to save money because I'm a village man. I'm coming from the village.
Okay.
So when I came to Nairobi, I had like 20,000 with me. From Form 4, I had just done my Form 4, 08. So when I came to Nairobi, first time, that time, I had like 20,000 that I had saved within a very short time that my brother had taught me, because Form 4, from Form 1 to Form 4, there is, say, you know, pocket, what we call pocket money.
Yeah.
Where do you get that? And some of these students, they are spoiled by their parents. They have a lot of money. I used to see that time, one of my good friends had a very expensive phone, Samsung pen. Where did they get this? From the savings. He used to tell me that I'm getting this from my savings. So that time when I came to Nairobi, then from there I went to the university. University people have a lot of money.
People have money
in the campus.
They're complaining, but they have money.
Yes.
They can
So I was
save
responding to what you were saying, that taking care of yourself. Yes, take care of yourself, but don't be extravagant in taking care of yourself.
Okay.
Don't buy unnecessary stuff. Why should you buy a shoe of 10,000 and you are not yet there? Do you remember the Maslow's policy, hierarchy of needs? You are not actualizing anything in life. You are the essentials.
The basic.
The basic.
Okay.
You can't feed yourself. Sometimes you are calling me for 1,000.
Yet you
bought
shoes
Yet, when the salary comes, you want to look like you are a rich friend who comes from a very rich background.
And that's happening a lot in
Yes.
this era because of the social media.
Because of the social
influence
media.
and the pressure that's there.
Exactly.
So do not go beyond your means. Look good, but you know, within your means.
So that is affected also by the company that you keep. Who are the friends that you keep? And yes, it is not bad to keep these friends. It is good to have company because they will also inject some other words to you. They will also give you other experiences of life on the other side. It is good to have them, but also have some principles. Draw some lines. Let's have boundaries into our expenses. Do not have an expenditure that will take away your joy. at the expense of appeasing somebody else in your company.
Yeah, okay.
At the expense of, I want to look like them. On Friday, you want to go bash, you want to go partying.
Yeah.
But you are not it. You are coming from the village like me, and you want not even a village, not even a village. You have a goal, you have a vision. I want to have built a home. I want to have built, this and that. You have a vision. But in your mission and in your goals, you are not living it.
You're not working towards your vision.
Exactly.
So you need to look at the bigger picture.
Yes.
All right. And I want you to also mention, for those that want to look into buying land, then how do you approach that? What are the factors that you need to consider before going to a realtor or whatever, so that you avoid being conned, but also stand a chance of getting a good place? And even with the current environment and the new policies that are coming into place,
yes,
with Nairobi, everything that's going on. So what would you advise?
Due diligence. And due diligence is not is quite of a process. Due diligence is you want to authenticate the land that you want to invest in. Due diligence is you want to authenticate the documents that give evidence of the existence of that land. So what is due diligence? Due diligence is that simple verification process of the land that you want to invest in. So once you realize that I've done some savings and I want to maybe go and invest in land, due diligence starts from the authenticity, the credibility of that company. Does that company even advertise? Where is their office, isn't it? You go to their office, you see them. And then from there, you need to go to the land and see where the land is. Because land is physical. Land is not a service. Land, you go there, you see the beacons. What is a beacon? You go there, you see, is it 4 beacons? Is it 5 beacons? And then from there, ask for papers. What are the papers that you should ask? For example, a title deed. You only have 2 types of title deeds in Kenya. A leasehold or a freehold. Ask for those papers. And those papers are not registered by any other entities. It is by the government of the Republic of Kenya. So once you have those papers with you, a copy of a title deed. Is it the leasehold? Is it the freehold? Now you go to a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court, to run a search. What is a search? A search is you want to verify the paper that you have on hand, the title deed that you have on hand. If it is the same, the contents of that title deeds, are they the same with what the Ministry of Lands have, the Land Control Board? So that will be the work of the lawyer. They will go on the other side and check, and they will give you a certificate of search. Now, with that certificate of search, sometimes you can also go further beyond there to do a green card search, to do a white card search. A green card search for freehold, white card search for leasehold. A green card, again, is basically shows the history of that land. Stephanie ever owned this land. Stephanie sold it to Kilonzo. Kilonzo is now selling it to who? No, Kilonzo is the current owner. So it will give you an history of the list of people who ever own that land.
So that you know that this person selling to me is indeed the current owner of this land.
Yeah. So the green card will show you the transaction of that land. Sometimes you can also go ahead further than the green card to do a register index map search.
Okay.
So a RIM map, because now a RIM shows, for example, I'll give you an example of this table. This table has 20 parcels of land. So inside that 20 parcels of land, we have small title deeds. So the RIM becomes the bigger map. Like Nairobi have different registries of the land that is around Nairobi County. There's a land registry all over the Kenya. So in those land registries, we have registry index maps, and we have cadastral maps if it is for the leaseholds. So it is the bigger map. So you can do all those searches from a title deed to a green card to a registry index map. So with all that information, now you can proceed to buy land.
All right.
Now, at the point of buying the land, you need sale agreements. You need to agree legally that I'm selling this land to you. You are satisfied with the search. You need a site visit. You saw where the land is. Now from there, I have sale agreement. A sale agreement is a legal document between me and you. I'm selling this land for this. This is a purchase price. You will pay this land. These are the terms of payment. You can pay it cash. You are doing a bank financing. You are paying it on installments. You do my installments. This is the deposit. Everything about that land until closure, it is in that sale agreement.
All right.
At the point of closure, now you can transfer the land. Transfer and consent. Because you are transferring from Stephanie to me. I was the buyer. You are the seller. So you will need to transfer the land. And now, after you transfer about 60, 90 days, the title becomes yours.
And
then from there, you can go to a bank after some time to take a loan. And then you open a business that you want.
Right.
That is the beauty with land, because land appreciates. For example, there's a land for 139,000. Some place in Malindi. They're selling a land of 139,000. Do you know you can pay that land by M-Pesa?
Okay.
Because M-Pesa, you can transact about 300,000.
Yeah.
You can buy that land and we fly you there.
Immediately.
Yes.
And what are the factors to look at when you want to buy a land? Now, Nairobi, is it a freehold or is it a leasehold?
Most of the towns in Kenya, within 10-kilometer radius, they are leasehold.
Within 10 kilometers radius
from the
Nairobi.
CBD of most of the urban areas. Let me just say, most of the urban areas in Nairobi, in Kenya, most of the urban areas in Kenya, they are leaseholds.
Okay.
And you find that leasehold stretches from the CBD of that urban place to a radius of around 10 kilometers. You find most of them are leasehold. By the way, by 2060 there, I don't know, 2060 will be our old, don't mind. We might have every land in Kenya
as leasehold.
As leasehold.
But why are we going there?
Because leasehold is very good in terms of appreciation. For example, if you buy land in Kiambu, 80% is leasehold. Because anyway, freehold land is coming from ancestral land.
Yeah.
It's coming from ancestral land. So you'll find that, like where you come from, Ushago, that is my father's, my parents' home.
You've inherited it, it's
I've
gone
inherited.
down the...
Yeah. It's also part of maybe a way of creating wealth. So it becomes freehold. So leasehold, for example, in Kiambu, you buy it at 1.9 million. And you know lease, you are paying some rates. You're paying some land rates and all that. So because of those land rates and taxes, it really appreciates so fast. And you find that lease, because of their location, urban areas and all that, the infrastructure there will prompt that place to really appreciate its value because of the infrastructure. We are talking of roads, we are talking of maybe, is it optic fiber cables, we are talking of the growth of towns, you know, private investment and things like that. So leasehold really appreciates very fast.
Okay.
That title is a good title.
It's a good, so it's actually a good thing that if you can get a leasehold land, because the opinion is that people prefer, you know, freehold land because of the taxes that you pay when you...
There are not a lot of taxes. There are not, we also need to change that. We also need to be informed. There are not a lot of taxes. If you're paying a land rate for 2,000 a year...
Oh, it's only 2,000?
No, I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
But those are there. Those kind of rates are there.
All right.
It really depends on the location of the land and the structure in that land. For example, if you have done, if Upper Hill, and we have some very serious buildings there, you know, it is not only the land rate that you're paying. You're also paying a lot of other things like maybe the homeowner association. If it is an estate, homeowner association, you need litter garbage collection. There are also other things to pay in that kind of thing. Yeah, so, and also the government. How will the government survive if we don't give them taxes? So from those rates, land rates and all that, we will need also the government to do the roads. The government will do the infrastructure. We should only pray for a government to be responsible enough to be accountable for every tax that they're collecting.
So that we can grow as a country.
Yes.
Now, if you're buying land from, you know, companies like yours, Optiven and other companies, which one is better, you know, because there are those that sell as an estate, the estates, and then those that sell individual lands, you know. So which one is better?
Companies are good. If I get your question, companies are good because the risk is very small from an individual. Because, for example, in a company like Optiven, we will do the due diligence for you if you want. A company like Optiven, we have the advocates with us. So, and the process is so simple. We will take care of your site visit. We will take you with our car there, you go see the land. And then from there, you can, it simplifies your due diligence because you know your neighbor there. You can, who's my neighbor, you know, and you can see them building a home. So it is riskier, maybe sometimes to do from individual. For companies, the risk is a bit spread. It's minimal. So for me, I would go for companies because the liability, it really is on the company. If anything goes south, it is the liability of the company. Yes.
All right.
And you'll find that most of the companies, everything is domiciled there. The title deed is just one price. you pay X amount of money and you get all the things for that land. You get the title deed, all the taxes have been paid, all the rates have been paid. So you'll just finish paying and you'll have the title deed to you. Right. In terms of legal action and anything for the company, it's easier to deal with the company. Yeah, because of the structures and all that.
All right.
Yes.
So from all this, there's so much that we have taken in.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot that is there in investment, but there's also now the insurance companies offer the investment policies where you invest and then after 10 years you get your money with interest. So how do you advise for someone to, would you advise someone to go into such?
Yes, the policies. Remember we talked about diversifying in your portfolio. Don't just look for one opportunity. If you can, start from somewhere. You are a new investor. You are a new wealth creator. You want by 30 years from now, you want to have amassed some assets. You want to have built a home. You want to have built a commercial maybe building, so that a rental home, a rental house, a rental flat, what we are calling in our place flats. Yeah. You know, you have some plan, you have a goal, you have a vision. So start from somewhere. Now, starting from somewhere, it could also mean that because you could give yourself like 10 years, 20 years, 15 years of an investment plan. Talk of an insurance policy. Education policy is good because they have a maturity rate. So in your portfolios, I would encourage you to look at different portfolios. Insurance, let it be one of them. Education policy is good. I took an education policy like 5 years ago. It will mature at a good rate, like maybe when we are doing elections. Okay. You can also take a retirement policy right now. You are 25 years. Don't think you'll not retire. By the way, if you are 25, 10 plus 25 is what? 35.
It catches up real fast.
Yes. I remember when you were in high school, we met some friends when you were in high school, 2008. My God, how many years down the line? we are laughing, and do you have kids? Did you finally marry? You thought that
is different.
You thought that you will not get here. Now we are here.
Yeah.
In 10 years, if we meet, by the grace of God, God will keep us. We meet again 10 years from now. My friend will be Anguka.
The conversation is different.
It's different. So if you are not taking charge of your retirement now, in fact, retire now. Start thinking of your retirement now.
Okay.
And retiring now is you take a retirement policy. We have very good insurance companies. They will give you even 2,000 to retire. Okay. Every month you'll be committing 2,000.
2,000 only.
And you can do a standing order with your income.
Yeah. So by standing order, for those that don't understand, tell us standing order.
A standing order is unajua pesa ikifika kwa simu yako.
Ni ngumu kuiweka, utaitumia
vibaya. So from the source, you will go agree with your bank where you receive your salary. On first, when you see my account,
remove that money before I
so
get
you will sign some documents. You will give them that express order that on first, when that money is here, please remain with 2,000. The 2,000 will be taken by X insurance company. It will go towards my retirement. Yeah, standing orders are very good because it helps you in your financial discipline. It is a good discipline measure. Yeah, it takes care of because once money is in your M-Pesa and it was not planned for, you will be very creative with how to expend it.
That's very true. So that's a good way of maintaining having
that
financial discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. As we come to a close on this conversation, you spoke when we were starting. You distinguished quite well between wealth and riches.
Yes.
Now, you also spoke of financial stability and financial independence. You want to expound a bit more on this?
Yeah. There is something called FIRE. FIRE, like literally FIRE. FIRE is financial independence, and early retirement. So we need to, those two things you talked about, two of them, wealth and riches. Financial independence for early retirement. So financial independence is achieved through wealth creation. Okay. And wealth creation focuses on different portfolios. What are these portfolios? Start small with land. How? Go to SACCO savings. Have some savings. Don't save a lot of money in the bank because the interest we say they are very small. Look for circles where you can multiply your shares to 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 3, and you get a good amount of money. Go put it in land. Start chicken rearing. Start goat farming, and all those small things. Passive investments. So you are on your journey towards wealth creation. When you are around 80, you will have something. You will have some assets to pass to your next generation, right? Now, on the riches, it is from this financial independence, it is from the wealth creation, you will have some liquid cash, you will have something like when you call you for an arambe, you are able to give us from your riches. From your riches is what you are carrying that day to give us, right? From your riches is you are having a rental flat somewhere. You are getting an income there monthly of maybe, say, 300,000 after tax. You know, those are your riches for the time. Wealth cards, you know, it transits through generations. Riches could be for time. Riches could be very easy, you know, available for this particular time. I'm very rich this morning. I've carried like 2 million with me. I'm very rich. You're very rich. That statement.
But it can...
It can wither. That can just go. But wealth is, today I'm not rich, but tomorrow I am sure that my income from my rental houses is coming. I've built a wealth. Wealth is there, is sustainable. It is there. Riches can appear today they are not there. But wealth from the assets will grow. It will transit from generation to generation, right? And wealth most of the time is in terms of the assets. And those assets will be income generating, you know.
So when we're talking about your worth, what is your worth? What are you worth? Then we're talking about your net worth, Then we're talking about the wealth that you've accumulated, something that you can pass down to.
Yes, you can pass down to your generation because it is from, and also it is a legacy. And from that wealth that you are passing down to a generation, it is not also your own biological generation. We are talking also from the village, from your contemporaries. Like we hear, all of us, like the stories of the great billionaires of the world. I just gave you an example of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
That guy has amassed a lot of wealth. Today we want his services. We want Starlink. Today you are using laptop. You are using that technology, that software. Someone developed that. The car that we are using today, it is wealth. It's a legacy to somebody.
Yeah.
We attach it to someone who created that car. The mobility that we have, is it bicycle? Is it what? That is a wealth. We attach that legacy to someone. So wealth, most of the time, is also a solution to our daily, you know, problems. Creating wealth for generations, creating solutions for generations through the ideas that we have today. And those ideas, we grow with them. We grow those ideas pole. They become wealth creation avenues for me, for generations.
So it's leaving an impact also.
An impact.
It comes from leaving an impact, something that will live on even after you're gone. Wow.
Which is quite very different from riches. Riches is very selfish.
You just accumulate it for yourself and then it ends after some time.
We cannot attach a generation to it. We cannot attach an effect to the society to it. Wealth has that society effect into it, that society effect into it, that through this wealthy, through this idea of wealth creation, someone went to school. Through this wealth creation idea, there is an empowerment.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's a great place to close this conversation.
Thank you.
And maybe you can tell us where people can reach you as you give your final take on this conversation. If you're to leave the viewer with something from this, then what would that be? From all this conversation, what would that be? This is your camera.
Wealth creation starts from simple steps of, you know, developing a saving culture. A saving culture does not require you to be a billionaire. Start small. It is from the 20 shillings that you put aside, it will grow to a monument of, you know, becoming a big wealth, you know, avenue for you to create wealth for generations. Start small. Start small.
All right.
And then you can find me on Property Navigator or across all social media platforms. Property Navigator.
Property Navigator. Thank you very much, Kilonzo. We really appreciate the insights.
Thank you.
So that has been Kilonzo Mbuvi, the property expert. He works at Optiven, and you can get him on his social at the Property Navigator. I hope you've taken something from this. Start a savings culture. You can create wealth from now. It's a journey, and you need to start now with the little that you have. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with yet another exciting interview. Stick with us.